Hi again guys, I'm back again with a tutorial this time. This is going to be a tutorial on how to solve this Siamese 4x4 puzzle from Tony Fisher that you might have seen my unboxing for recently. See, it's signed in the corner there by Tony. If you did see the unboxing, you might notice that the stickering pattern is now slightly different. I got some replacement stickers for it because I didn't like the colour scheme on the original Eastsheen colour scheme on the original cubes, because these are Eastsheen cubes. So I've re-stickered it in the standard kind of Rubik's sticker pattern. It's still the same to solve. The only difference is before, this kind of 2x4 section here and this 2x4 section here was the same colour, so both cubes were identical to each other, whereas now you see it's red on this one and orange on this one. So before I start solving, I do need to check which cube I'm looking at. You don't necessarily need this puzzle to be able to give this a try. If you don't want to buy this custom made puzzle, you can just bandage your own 4x4 into this bandaging pattern. All you need to do is kind of tape together a 2x4 block on one edge. Just use some masking tape, something, you know, kind of something gentle that won't lift your current stickers off. I haven't got any masking tape at the moment to be able to do it to show you, but just bandage together one 2x4 block, as I said, which matches kind of the 2x4 block in the centre of this that is bandaged together and can't turn, and you will be able to try this out. I'm only going to do one cube on this tutorial because, as I said, the solve is identical on both sides. They are symmetrical, so it works exactly the same on both cubes. So I'm just going to scramble one side, and we'll get to that now. I'll probably speed this bit up because you don't really need to see me scrambling the puzzle. Alright, that should do it, I think. It's pretty much scrambled there, I think. Okay, this is a very fun puzzle. I've very much enjoyed solving this and figuring it out. It's not horrendously difficult, but it shows enough of a challenge to make it interesting. I know Super Antonio Vivaldi's already got a tutorial for this, but it's always worth putting another one up. I think somebody else's perspective always is different. I've deliberately avoided watching his tutorial until I've made this video, just simply because I don't want to incorporate his ideas. I'm going to watch it after I've done this, actually, just out of curiosity to see if we've done it exactly the same way or not, but I don't want to be sort of accidentally stealing his ideas before I've done a video of my own. So here it is, all scrambled. The sequence I'm going to follow is pretty much the same as you do on a 4x4. Match up all the centres, do all the edge pairing, and then solve it kind of like a regular reduced 3x3. There are a couple of differences because of the bandaging, but the order is basically the same. Now, the way I hold the puzzle is, it seems to work best for me this way up, so that the 2x4 unbandaged block is on the bottom of the puzzle. That's the way I seem to solve it. It seems to work best that way for me. So what I'm going to do first is this two-piece block at the bottom. Now I can see that I've got an orange piece here, an orange section on the other 2x4 block, should I say, so I know this one's red, but it's easy enough to find out. Just count how many centres I've got. The one that goes here, I'm only going to have two of, so there's one red centre there, one red centre there, and no others. So we'll start by pairing those up. So we just need to, what you've got to remember is you've got to use kind of surrogate faces, because normally all you do is just twist this back face to line them up like opposite each other, and just then rotate it across like that, but obviously because I can't turn this face, that doesn't work. So all I've got to do is turn it to this right face, which will rotate, put it in the position it will need to be, and turn it back again. And you can see it's on the bottom on right of the centre block on this side. This is on the top left of the centre 4-piece block, so I can now just rotate it 180 degrees and they're matched up. Now I need to put them in position on the bottom and keep them out of the way. So that, again, what I need to do, because I can't rotate this to be able to turn it down, rotate it so that it's on the right hand side and twist it 90 degrees and rotate all the top back, and it can now obviously be just turned in position. So that way, that's the way it lives. So I then need to work on the top layer, the one opposite that 4-piece block, which is the way I do a 4x4. I don't know if you do the same normally. So this is going to be orange since it's opposite red, so we'll look for some orange centerpieces. I've got 2 here. So once again, just rotate one of them onto the right hand side. Oh, I've got lucky there, it's actually put 2 together there, but I'll do what I was going to do anyway just to show you. So I'll put one on the right hand side where the face can turn, rotate it 90 degrees so that when I turn it back it will match up with this orange. Now I need to get that onto the top layer, and obviously since this layer doesn't turn by itself, I need to put it somewhere else. And what I need to do actually is put it on the back face, because this slice can rotate by itself. So all I'm going to do is rotate it so it's onto the back, both of the centre layers. You can see it's now on this slice that does turn. Put it to the top, rotate it 180 degrees and put the slice back where it came from to return these 2 red ones to the bottom. Alright, so what I need to do next is get this orange piece here down into the centre layer to be able to match it up with its neighbour it belongs with. So all I'm going to do here is rotate that slice that can move, move it out of the way on this right hand side, so that when I turn this bottom 3rd slice back to match the red pieces back together, it doesn't get lost back on the back piece again. I hope that makes sense. And then put the red pieces back on the bottom. Now, pure coincidence, I have now matched these orange pieces up. That was kind of happy accident, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Now all I need to do is get that onto the top layer. Now, with same as you would with a 4x4, what I need to do is line it up with the 2 pieces on the top layer on this slice that can move. So then rotate it to the top layer, do a top 180 degree turn and rotate that slice back. That keeps the 2 red pieces on the bottom, finishes my 4 on the top, and then we can start to work on the other sides. Now I know with my sticker pattern that this side is going to be, I'll turn this one somehow. This side is going to be yellow, because it matches this face here the way I've stickered it. Obviously this side is going to be green because it has to match these here, because these 2 pieces cannot ever move. This side is going to be blue. So the way I can work it out is, if this is blue and this is red, then this has to be white, because obviously standard Rubik's sticking pattern goes red, white, blue. So that's how I work those out. All I'm going to do is same as I do on any 4x4. I've actually got quite a few pairs matched up accidentally, so that's quite a happy accident. Put any pairs that I've already got matched up horizontal, so those choice horizontal, rotate the pairs onto the right face that turns and make them horizontal again, and the same with this green and white, and the same with this green. Now, I've kind of got lucky on this one, but so all I've got actually to do is this blue and white pair. Let's mix it up so it's not quite so easy, I think, actually, because I've got a bit too lucky there, which is not very good for a tutorial. I want it scrambled a bit more so you can see what I'm doing. Now you should really kind of be a bit familiar with a 4x4 before you start trying to solve this puzzle, so it shouldn't be too difficult for you to know how to do this. But anyway, here it is. Let's try again. So I've done it in such a way that obviously I haven't messed up that red and orange. Okay, so what we're going to do is match up pairs of colours. I'm going to start with this green and this green here, because I can see they're fairly straightforward. I'll just move that yellow one out of the way. Now this green that I want to match up with this green is on the back and in the wrong position. I need it on an adjacent face in a place so I can just turn it 90 degrees. So I'll put it onto this right hand face, which can turn, while keeping the one I want to match it to here. I just turn this face 90 degrees so that when I turn it, it will match up with the green I'm aiming for, and by happy accident it's matched up that blue as well, which is going to happen from time to time. So the same again, just put it on this right face and make those pieces horizontal, so you're not going to split up those pairs. And then the two whites are now matched up as well, so let's just make that horizontal and see how the blue and yellow are, see if they match up. They don't, because if I put it on the face here and rotate it 90 degrees, they, as you can see, don't match up. So what I need to do is just put that blue and yellow with the blue pair that I already have matched up on this right hand face where they can turn. Now this way what happens is I can rotate this face. Let's see, the yellow is on the bottom right there, bottom left should I say, so I need this yellow on the top left. No, this bottom right, so I need this bottom on the top right. So rotate this 90 degrees, put the yellow on the top right in this block of floor, it's on the bottom left of this block of floor, but put them together, sorry, it's on the bottom, let me say that again, the yellow on this block is on the bottom right, it's on the top right now of this block of floor, and when you rotate them together they do now match up. So same again, make them horizontal so you don't split them up. And that's all of the centerpieces now paired up. And once again, if you're familiar with a 4x4, there shouldn't be anything new to you. So all we need to do now is put all the colours on their correct sides. And as I said, it goes red, white. Since this is my blue face, this needs to be blue. So let's put the blue face in first, because since we know where that needs to go, we'll put one pair in there, whereas the other one is here. So what we need to do is rotate this blue for a second onto a face that can turn, but we also need this pair of blue lined up with it. So rotate it onto the place that can turn. We then replace it with the one we're moving in, rotate it 180 degrees and move that slice back, and then we can just move the block onto the face that can't turn. So opposite blue goes green, this is red, so it's red, white, blue. So we'll do this white face now. The white is on the bottom, so that needs to be put onto the top first. Actually, I've turned my cube around. This is the way around it needs to go. So what we need to do is just put that onto a face that can turn again for a second. So we'll just move the entire centre slice, both layers, rotate it 180 degrees and move it back. We've got one white in position already now. This is now on the slice that can turn. So you rotate it onto the slice, on the face it needs to go, rotate it 180 degrees and move the slice back again, and that puts the original two pieces back in. So we've now got red, white, blue centres all done, and we just need green and yellow. So green is obviously this face because they can't turn. We can't do the replace move because this side face can't turn, so we need to rotate the entire centre slice for a second. Now this is now kind of a surrogate face for the green face. We just need to do the same again to put this green pair on the top. So replace the pair that's already there, do a U2, move it back, and these are now together. Rotate the entire centre layer, centre slice, the entire pair of centre slices back into position. That's the green done. The yellow should now be in position. So that's all the centerpiece is done, and we can move on to the edge pairing. Alright then, so next what we do is we move on to edge pairing. Now the first thing we want to do is get these bottom two out of the way, because they tend to be the trickiest ones to deal with. I'll show you a little algorithm that I figured out to insert these quite easily. Remember, this is the red face, so we'll do the red green one first because I've just seen it over here on the top. Now what you want to do is get it so that it can be moved to this section, so this piece here on the slice that moves. And now, as you can see at the moment, it's in the wrong place, so what you need to do is move it to the right hand face, which turns, bring it down once onto the, so it's here at the moment where I'm pointing, on the front face, move the entire centre slice around to the right, so it's now on the back right, bring the piece we're dealing with back to the top, and move the centre slice back to where it belongs. You can see then that when I turn it back, it's on that slice, as I mentioned, it's above the spot where it belongs, so that's where we need it. So what we do with it is just move it down to the side on this right hand face, so you do a U prime and an R, which brings it down to the back here, out of the way. Now what we're going to do is bring the spot it belongs in up into the top layer, so you're going to do R on the, you're doing it on the slice layer, not on the right side, U prime, then you do an R prime on the right face, not the slice face, U, and R prime on the slice layer, and as you can see that's brought it into play. What you're actually doing with that sequence, let's just put it back where it started, is you're bringing the spot up onto the top layer and moving it around to the right, so that you're splitting it up from these two centres, so you can bring the piece that belongs there into it without disturbing anything else. So I'll show you that one more time. That's the starting position. Our piece that we want is down here at the back, so it's R on the slice layer, U prime, R prime, U, R prime on the slice layer, and as you can see that puts it in. And basically we just do a similar sequence of moves on the red and blue piece that we need to do next. So next, of course, what we need to do is to insert the blue-red edge piece, which I can see is on the right hand side here, and we need to follow a similar process. We need to get it in a format where it can be placed above the position it is going on this back edge of this slice that can turn. And as it turns out, it's actually in the right configuration this time, but if it wasn't, I'd just turn it around exactly the same way as I did with the green red edge piece before inserting it. So once again, where I need it is on this right hand side, turn down 90 degrees. The algorithm for inserting it is basically the same, except the first turn is an R prime on the slice turn rather than an R. We then do a U instead of a U prime to bring that slot where the piece needs to go over to the right hand edge. So we do an R to turn it in, U prime to put it back over the back, and an R on the slice to place it. And that's it. That's simple as that really, to place those two edges. And from that point onwards we can just move on to edge pairing the same way we would on a 4x4. So I'm going to start by looking for either a green yellow or an orange yellow to pair with these. I can see I've got an orange yellow down here, so all I'll do is, the only difference is it takes a bit more of a setup moves to be able to pair up the edges, because you've only got the two faces you can actually rotate. So we'll put the orange yellow opposite the other one here, so we can just match them up. So you're always going to match the pairs up on this top edge here, by so you'd have one on the front and one on the back of this top edge, and then when you rotate them to pair them up, you just do a U, R, U prime before restoring the slice turn, to swap them with something else, so that you're not splitting them back up again. So my orange yellow is now over here. So basically that's the way you replace a paired a pair of pieces that you've matched up with a non-paired piece, and as it turns out I've actually got a accidental pair here as well, so I'll move those out of the way as well to keep them paired up. What I tend to do once I've got two pairs is stick them over this side just to keep them out of the way, because you need this right edge and up edge to be clear or to be populated with pairs that are waiting to be sold. So I just stick them over here out of the way. So I'll just rotate the entire pair of centre layers over. So I'll put one pair there, bring the other set of pairs to the top, and do the same but on the back face, and you can see that those two pairs are just over here out of the way. So I can work with others. So I've got a green orange here, I can see I've got another green orange here, so I'll move that over to the back. Well, I'll put it on the top, but it's in the wrong position, so what I need to do is just rotate the top once, but that doesn't actually work. It needs to be turned around. As you can see at the moment they're both on the same slice, so one of these needs to turn around, and in that process that will move it over to this piece here. Now to do that, all you need to do is do a U prime R prime, which puts it in the centre layer. Rotate the entire pair of centre layers, equatorial centre layers together, and move it. Bring the piece that we're focused on back to the top. Move the centre layers back, and you can see that they're now the green orange, or the two green orange pieces are now on separate slices, and we can do our normal edge pairing. So we bring them together, do a U prime R prime U, put the centre layers back, and that's kept our centre pieces paired there. Put a pair of centre pieces back around here out of the way again, as I did before. I haven't done that, have I? Well, I've actually got another accidental paired piece really, which is unusual to get two in a row like that, but keeping two matched pairs here on the left to keep them out of the way. Alright, so what else have we got to do? I can see straight away that I've got both blue whites are here available on the top, so we might as well do that one. So pull them together, do a U prime, bring the slice back, and that's that pair done, and we now have 3 remaining pieces, pairs to do, so that this is going to work out nicely, I think. So I'm going to work on the orange whites because I can see they're ready to go, and got a unsolved pair in the right edge here, which I can swap them with once they're paired up. So orange white together, U prime R prime U, put the slice layer back, and that's another pair done. And we've now got the yellow blue to do, orange blue to do, and green yellow to do. So let's have a look here. What can we do? Both green yellow pieces here, so but they need to be on opposite edges obviously, so bring that down, move one green yellow piece over to here, bring that back up, and that puts it opposite. But of course again these are on the same slice, so we need to do the same as we did before to put them on the different slices. So do a U prime R prime to put it on the centre layer here, this green yellow, move the entire centre layer across, and bring the green yellow piece back to the top layer, and move the pair of centre layers back where it was. So you can see now that the green and yellow, we've got one green and yellow on this slice, one green and yellow on this slice. We also need the final remaining pair of pieces over here, so we can swap it with the sold pair in a second. So bring the green and yellow pair together, U prime R U to swap them, and there we go. You can see that I have now got all of my pieces, all my edge pairs solved. The only problem with that is I haven't reached a certain kind of situation where you may be familiar with it from solving a 4x4 generally, where you sometimes need to rotate, instead of doing the up face to swap with a unsolved pair, you need to use the front face to swap it down here, because otherwise the pair that you swap it with is in the wrong position, and you end up with two pairs which are unsolved. And I haven't come across that situation on this one, so what I'm going to do is just set that situation up so I can show you how to do that, because that can be a little bit tricky. Alright, so this is a situation you can find yourself in, it seems to be about 50% of the time, I think, from my experience so far, where you end up with just two sets of edge pieces that aren't matched and all the other edge pairs are done. You can see I've got the blue, yellow and the blue orange here that are waiting to be solved. So what I do when I reach this situation, I don't know if this is the normal way, but when I do it on a 4x4, I do a normal pairing sequence of movements without actually pairing anything up on these edge pieces, and that gives me three sets of edge pieces, which is what we need to be able to solve them. So I've got the blue yellow opposite each other here and the blue orange opposite each other. If that's not the case, then rotate the pieces using the center layer as I've shown you to get it into that situation, and then we do the normal edge pairing sequence. So we now have, as well as the blue, orange and blue yellow pieces, we also need the orange and yellow pieces paired up. Now in this situation on a regular 4x4, this would be a simple solve. All you do is, instead of pairing them up and using the U-turn to swap out the pair of pieces that you've just done, you just start off with an F-turn. Now obviously on this, unfortunately, that can't be done. You can't rotate that F face, so this poses a bit of a problem. This is something that took me a little while to figure out actually when I was learning how to solve this puzzle, but it's actually a fairly simple situation once you get the hang of it. Now all you've got to do, I've got the, you can see I've got the orange yellow piece on different center slices, and so I can pair those up immediately. So that's in the right situation. Now what I need, the other pair I've got here, I need them on the back edge, where the back edge meets the right edge. So they're the rear right of the puzzle as I'm looking at it here. My fingers are on them. So now what I do, I just turn the slice layer to pair up this orange and yellow, as you can see. Rotate the U layer, as you have to do, but instead of just doing the U, what I turn is all three top layers that I can turn. Rotate the wrong way, do an R turn to put the pair in place that I'm swapping them with, and rotate the U-turn back. Now I can't just return them as I would normally at the moment, because otherwise I'm messing up my centres. So what I also need to then do, my orange and yellow pieces here that are, the stripes are horizontal at the moment, need to turn those back to vertical. Wrong way, sorry, I did do an R prime because my turn to originally was an R. Put the entire pair of centre slices back where they came from, and then do the slice turn back to pair the last two edges up together again. And that's it, that's all of the edge pairs solved. So then we have now reduced it to a 3x3, and hopefully we should be able to finish this off from there. Okay, so now what we've essentially reduced this to is a Siamese 3x3. It's not entirely obvious how you might go about solving this, so I will go through this step by step as well. I'm going to start off by keeping the cube the way up that we've had it, so that, as you can see, we've got the bandage 2x4 section is in this bottom layer. So you're going to do it layer by layer as you would a regular 4x4 once it's reduced to a 3x3. So I've got the only one edge pair to place in the bottom layer, which is this. I've got the centerpiece is rotated wrong, which is this red white piece, and I can see that the pieces are here. So obviously I can't just rotate them in at the moment. So what I need to do is just rotate the entire centre portion so that piece goes to the back, and rotate it into position, rotate the centre layer back. Obviously next what we need to do is put the corners into the bottom layer. So we've got the red, green, white here, so this shouldn't be too difficult. I'm not going to go into too much detail about exactly how you go about that, because you should be quite familiar with being able to do that. It's not difficult. Red, blue and white goes at the back, and that's the two corners in place. So now we do the edges just using the regular beginner's method on this right hand edge. So let's see, we've got blue and yellow. The only difference is obviously I can't do it here by turning this right edge, so what I need to do is rotate the entire upper portion so that we can do it on this right edge here. So now I've got the blue yellow piece here going between the blue and yellow centres, same as you would with beginner's method on a 3x3, and then rotate the entire section back, and you can see that the blue yellow is now in position. So what else we've got on the top there? We've got the green white here, so once again we need to do the same again. Put the entire section on the right face so we can use the beginner's method. The green white is going to the back, so it's R U R U R U prime R prime U prime R. Rotate the entire section back again. This green white is in position. We've got blue white here, so just rotate it around and we can do that one. So R U R U R U prime R U prime R prime. And last but not least, we've got the green yellow, and obviously it's already in place but incorrectly rotated. So once again, rotate the entire upper portion, so up and middle layers, so we can do it on the right hand face. R prime U prime R prime U prime R prime U R U R. And one last time, rotate it all to the right hand face. Up U R U R U prime R prime U prime R prime. Line everything up, you can see we've got an entire middle layer done. Okay, so I can see now, which is good because I wanted this situation to occur, that I've now got the parity with one single edge piece flipped. If I continue to solve, I'm going to get to the situation like you do on a 4x4, where you need to do the old Red Bull algorithm. So if you solve it, you'd be in this situation as I am here. The problem is you can't actually do the algorithm in exactly that way on this puzzle because moves are blocked. Because normally, you know, you're going to be turning the left slice and the front face, and these moves are blocked. Now, I don't know whether my method is the most efficient way to fix this, but it most certainly works. So that's the important thing in my book. So what I do, here's an explanation of how I do it. Hopefully you kind of know this algorithm anyway. I'll just go through it briefly on the 4x4 to fix it, to show you what it is. So it's R2 just using the slice layer, B2, U2, L on the slice layer, U2, R prime on the slice layer, U2, R on the slice layer, U2, F2, R on the slice layer, F2, L prime on the slice layer, B2, R2 on the slice layer, and that fixes that. Now, what I do on this puzzle is to perform that algorithm, and every time a move is blocked, I just use a kind of surrogate position, and I'll explain what I mean as I go through it. So, with the pair of pieces on the front edge that need to be flipped, on this case it doesn't actually matter which pair I do it on, because it's not in a situation where all of them are facing the top at the moment. So what I'm going to do is just do it on this pair. That'll leave me with two that are correctly oriented and two that aren't, which is a situation that's easy to puts you in the correct situation to solve it as a regular 3x3 using the beginner's method. So here's what I do the R2 on the slice layer as it needs to be, and then need to do a B2, which obviously I can't do at the moment. So I'll rotate the back face over to the right here so that I can then turn it. So I just move, I'm moving all three of the layers that can be turned using a U, and this is what was the back face, so I can now do that B2 turn and put it back where it belongs. We then need to do a U2, which is fine. We then need to do an L on the slice layer, which again is blocked at the moment. So what we need to do is move it, the entire upper section again, but this time turn it 180 degrees. So this is now what was our L layer, and we turn that as an R on the slice layer instead of an L, and turn everything back. We then do an R prime on the slice layer, which works fine. Oh no, sorry, the next is a U2, which is fine, and R prime on the slice layer, U2, R on the slice layer, U2. We then need to do an F2, so once again we'll move the F face to the right, do the what would have been an F2, move it back, another R on the slice layer, and another F2, so once again move the F to the right, do the F2 and turn it back. We then need to do an L prime, so once again we turn the whole section 180 degrees, do an R prime instead, move it all back. We then need to do a B2, so move the B to the right hand side, do the B2, move it back, and finally an R2 on the slice layer. Now that's the algorithm completed, and as you can see we have actually meshed things up a little bit, and that's the way it works because of the algorithm we've just done. So we've got to go through the process once again of fixing our centerpieces. Now they are all still paired up, it's not difficult, as you can see. All we've got is this green and orange to do, so it's not too difficult. And then we've got a few edge pairs to fix as well. So let's start off with this center. All you've got to do is, as you can see, the orange needs to be on top. So what I will do is line them up with the pieces they go with on the top on a slice I can turn, and then just do a R prime, U2, R on the centerpieces, and that's our centers fixed. So that, as you can see, that's not too painful. And we have to fix, you can see our red blue isn't in the back, so we need to do what we were doing before to fix that, exactly the same as we did the first time around. So it's here on the top, drop it down to the side on the front, and then do the algorithm. So it's R prime on the slice layer, U, R, U prime, and R on the slice layer. So that's in position, and all we've got left now are a few edge pairs that need to be fixed. So let's see, we've got orange white here and orange white on the bottom. As you can see, that's in the wrong position, so do what we did before. We need to get this across to the other layer, the other slice layer here. So bring it down to the center, rotate the entire center layer, bring the orange white back to the top, rotate the center slice layers back, and you can see that our orange white is now in the correct place for edge matching. So R, U, replace it with this pair and bring it back, and we have now got a situation where we've got just two edge pairs that need matching still. So first what we need to do is get them on, didn't do that right, rotate to the bottom, get those on opposite faces on the top layer. And as you can see, I'm going to do the same thing I did before to get that I showed you how to solve when you've got two edge pairs that need doing. So get them so that they won't solve while you do the edge matching sequence. So blue orange opposite blue orange and green orange opposite green orange, and R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime. And so then we need the odd sequence that you need to do to fix it when you would normally use an F turn to do the edge pairing replacement on a regular 4x4 as I showed before. So got the blue yellow arranged, and we need the other edge pair on the back right edge here as I said before, and do it the same way as we did before. Match the blue yellow up, rotate the entire top 3 layers of the puzzle, and then put these on top, rotate them back to the back. We'll then do an R prime and move the entire center layer to fix the centers, bring everything back, and as you can see we now have all of our edges paired up again. And then we just go through the same sequence of solving as before. So we want our red white pair to go on the bottom, so it's the wrong way around at the moment, so you can't just turn it in as it was before. So we do the same as before, we rotate it down so that it's on our center equatorial pair of layers, bring that to the front, bring it down, put our equatorial layer back, and that's in place. Right, red, green, white is in the right place but wrongly oriented, so we just need to fix that. Let's say we want the red, white and blue. In position, and same as before, just the beginner's method on the edge pairs to put them into position. So we've got white, blue here, R, U, R, U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime. Blue and white's in position. We've got yellow, blue over here, so once again rotate the entire up 3 layers, do R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U, R, U, R. Rotate everything back where it came from. Blue, yellow's in place. Green, orange, no, not green, orange. The other two are already in the equatorial, let's only bring them out. So let's bring the green, yellow out. So R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R, U, R. Rotate everything to the right edge. R, U, R, U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime. Put everything back in position, and we've just got the green, white to do. Put it over green, put it on the right face. R, U, R, U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime. Rotate everything back. Alright, so that's the essential edge do, and we're now back onto the top layer, and as you can see we have now got the correct situation where we wanted, where you got 2 edges solved and 2 unsolved, but that's fine. Not solved but oriented correctly, which is obviously the situation you need to be in to be able to do the orientation of the final layer. Now what you would normally do of course here is rotate the front and middle layers to start with, and again you can't do that, so once again you need to do a kind of a surrogate layer. You can't do the moving 2 layers together because you can't do that in any way. There's no direction you can do that because of the bandaging. So what you need to do is, this is our front face, so we'll start off by moving our front face to the right, which is the upper 3 layers obviously. So this is now our front face. Do an F and move everything back. You then do R, U, R prime, U prime as normal. Put the front face over here again and do an R and bring everything back. Now as you can see, that's given us the situation that you often get with two oriented edges opposite each other. So we just do the same again, but with the bar horizontal rather than up and down. So you have an unsolved piece in front of you, a wrongly oriented piece at the front here, and do the same again. So move the front to the right face, do an R and bring everything back, then R, U, R prime, U prime, move the front face to the right again, do an R prime and bring everything back, and as you can see that's got everything oriented. The only problem here is we've got a incorrectly positioned corner. That doing it that way as opposed to the regular beginner's method brings this corner piece out, so we do need to put that back, but that's not too difficult. Just insert that piece and we've then got the blue white edge piece which is now out of position, so just put that back in with the R, U, R, U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime. So that's all back solved again, but we're still in this situation where all our top face cross is oriented correctly. Okay then, so we are now obviously reaching the final stages of this solve, and the next step, as with regular beginner's method, is to orient all the corners. So same way I'd do it with any other cube. Anything 3x3 is just regular beginner's method. Put a orange on the front left, the colour that the top face should be on the front left, and do a soon. And see what that leaves us. Do the same again. If you know enough OLL algorithms, you might be able to do this a little bit easier, but remember, a lot of the moves are going to be blocked on this puzzle, so it's not always going to be possible to perform your OLL algorithms. Now you can see I've now got all the corner pieces oriented. As you can see, it's actually put all the corner pieces into the correct position. That's not a happy accident. That is exactly the way it will always happen on this puzzle. The Siamese puzzles, once you get the corners oriented on the final layer, they're always in the correct position. It's just the way the bandaging works. It stops them from being permuted in relation to each other. Now, as you can see, I've actually got a parity situation here. I've only got 2 edges that need to be solved, not 3. But in these situations, you can actually just do the regular algorithm, parity algorithm. So it's a R2 on the slice turn, U2, R2 on the slice turn, U2 with the top 2 layers, R2 with the slice turn, and a U2 on the slice layer. And that gets into the situation that we wanted, where we've got 3 edge pieces that need moving, and you can just use the regular beginners method algorithms for that as well. So position them correctly and just do the regular edge piece 3 cycle that you would do with the beginners method on a 3x3. So R2, U, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U, R prime, and that's it. That's the puzzle solved. I think I've covered every case that you can get on this, as far as I'm aware, that's not easily solved with regular beginners methods, so it should be able to solve it now with everything I've said in this video, I think. I do encourage you to give it a go on a regular 4x4 if you haven't done it. If you haven't got the Siamese puzzle, obviously, it is a very much fun puzzle. So yeah, give it a go, but with a bit of bandaging on a regular 4x4 with a bit of tape, as I said at the beginning of the video. I'd highly recommend it. If you do come across any situations that I haven't mentioned, obviously, then please feel free to ask in the comments how I go about solving it, and if I haven't covered it, I will do so. Alright then guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. Bye.